Hi, I'm Dr. Ray Peralta, physical therapist and run coach and exercise physiologist. Over the past 10 years, I've helped hundreds of runners hit PRs, rehab injuries, and yes, lose weight without starving themselves or burning out. If you're over 35 and trying to shed fat, stay strong, and run faster, this video is for you. I'm going to give you 3 actionable tips to get leaner, feel better, and train smarter without training for a marathon or cutting out everything you enjoy eating. We're going to cover how to eat less but keep your strength, how to move more without overtraining, and why strength training is your fat loss multiplier. So why this matters? Let's start with the big picture. 70% of US adults are now overweight or obese. 40% are obese, that's a BMI greater than 30, and 7% have severe obesity. And this isn't just about looks. Obesity raises your risk of chronic diseases, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and many joint issues like knee pain, back pain. Obesity-related health conditions account for over $190 billion in healthcare costs every year. But here's the thing, losing just 3 to 5% of your body weight can drastically improve your blood sugar, triglycerides, your cholesterol levels, and overall heart health. Even 2% weight loss can lower your risk of type 2 diabetes. The challenge, most people regain about 50% of what they lost within a year of stopping their weight loss plan. That's why sustainability matters, and these 3 tips are designed to help you do just that. So tip number 1, eat a little less but smarter. So for fat loss, is it really to like energy balance, right? What you're eating, your energy expenditure, what you're burning is more than what your intake. Energy, like calories in, calories out, or like energy in, energy out. So you're burning more than you take in. So more than you consume. But that doesn't mean you have to starve yourself, right? You don't have to go on crash diets. Here's my go-to method. Start with just 250 calorie reduction for food, so a little calorie deficit. And then you burn the other 250 calories through movement. That's because you got 500 calories 7 days a week of a burn or deficit to get 1 pound of fat loss per week. So 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories, right? So to get that, you split it up over 7 days. That's 500 calories a day that you have to burn either through moving more, eating less, or a combination of the two. So how to cut calories wisely? I usually say, hey, keep your protein, high when you're to preserve your muscle mass, and reduce either carbs or fat, but not both right away. And use hand portions. 1 cup handful of carbs is about 100 calories. 1 thumb of fat is about 90 calories. Right. So if you remove 3 cupped handful of carbs, right, we call it the low carb approach, right? So low carb approach, that's 300 calories removed from your diet per day. And then you can still make up the other 200 calories through adding more movement. Or you remove about 3 thumbfuls of fat, right? That's about 270 calories burned per day. And if you're already doing lots of endurance training, right, you're already a runner, maybe you're training for a half marathon or a marathon, but you're still trying to lose some weight, consider going with the low fat approach versus low carb approach to support your performance. Because sometimes people try to do low carb because they hear, oh, low carb, it's great for everyone, but low carb may hinder your performance, really impact your energy levels. So I recommend keeping your carb the same and doing low fat if you're a runner, like especially endurance running, half marathons, etc. So track your progress every 2 weeks, adjust only if needed. Weight loss isn't linear, right? It may vary, fluctuate day to day, week to week, but don't panic over day-to-day fluctuations. That's why I recommend just doing a weigh-in once a week, right? See where you're at, and then every 2 weeks, making adjustments. Is the scale moving in the direction you want to or not? If you do, maybe you have to further look at your food and make sure you're not cheating yourself. Sometimes people estimate what they're doing, and I recommend actually documenting, right? Use an app, right? Track what you're actually doing, like a food journal, like, okay, what are you actually eating, and stay consistent. Because if you binge eat on the weekends, right, it's going to throw you off, and now you're staying out of maintenance, or you might be gaining weight, right? Doing the reverse with what you want to do. Tip number 2, move more without overtraining. See, cardio burns calories, right? But you don't need to run every single day of the week to see results. Zone 2 cardio, brisk walking, easy running, biking, swimming, rowing, that could be your sweet spot. It's moderate to low intensity, but burns fat effectively. Now, you can't do zone 1. Zone 1 is where you're like leisurely, very slow walking, unless you're completely out of shape, right? Zone 1, that leisurely walk is not going to be enough. You have to go to zone 2. So where walking, you may actually have to do race walking, where you actually walk very fast to get to zone 2, or walk up inclines, or obviously run, and then run at an easy pace will get you to zone 2. But for many people, just leisurely, like your walk that you commute to work, right, or your walk that you use to walk around places is not enough of a stimulus to trigger fat loss. You actually have to walk a little faster than your normal walk. Otherwise, you're just going to be in zone 1. You need to be in zone 2 to actually help you burn fat and stuff. So yes, walking is better than sitting all day, of course, but for many people, you have to walk a little faster than your average walk. Anyhow, so what does that look like with this zone 2 cardio? 30 minutes is about 250 calories burned, and 60 minutes an hour is 500 calories burned. So the goal is for weight loss is typically 5 hours per week, right? If you're just going to do cardio alone, 5 hours a week, you're looking at, do a math real quick here. Yeah, so 5 hours a week, you're going to look about 2,500 calories burned, right? So that's not exactly the 3,500 calories you need to get 1 pound of fat loss per week, but this is also taking into account that you're also doing a caloric deficit, right? You're eating a little less. So that means you're, again, going what we talked about previously, cutting out a little less food, plus increasing your activity level. And you can mix it up, right? You don't always have to run. You could do run walk. You could just brisk walk, race walking, swimming, rowing, biking, going cycling, right? So the same thing, even if you do 30 minutes of biking or an hour of bike, for example, an hour of biking is at a zone 2 rate is also 500 calories burned. So you could do a combination, right? Maybe run 3 days of the week, and then the other 2 days of the week, run, swim, bike, and then you'll get your about 2,500 calories burned in the week. And then obviously comparing with eating a bit less, and you'll get that sweet spot to burn about 1 pound of fat per week. And if your progress is not changing, you obviously look back at what you're doing. Are you actually in zone 2? And also look at what you're eating. Are you actually cutting out the junk food, eating a little less, right? Because if you're still eating high or even more, then you're just going to maintain. Or you're actually not training at zone 2, like you're training at zone 1, which is too easy. Then obviously that's not enough of a stimulus to actually get your body to burn fat. But when you combine like cardiovascular exercise, aerobic training, and a caloric deficit, right, eating a little less, that's the sweet spot. Actually, I think that's going to be the most beneficial for most people. And you can combine the two and get a synergistic effect. And actually, you see more rapid changes in fat loss and improved performance. And then number 3, strength training. It's going to help you maintain your muscle and boost fat loss, because when you're losing weight, you also don't want to lose muscle mass. Sometimes when you just do eating less calories burned alone, right, eating less food, but you're not doing strength training, you tend to also lose muscle mass. So you don't want to lose muscle mass, right? It's going to make you weaker, may put you at risk for bone injuries, bone stress injuries, because you're not strong enough to handle the impact of running. So strength training really matters. So to preserve muscle mass while you're dieting, right? Strength training boosts your metabolism a little bit. Yes, you burn a little bit more. It's not super significant in the grand scheme of things, but you do burn a little bit. I think it's like 20% more than someone who doesn't have as much muscle. And makes running feels easier, right? So yeah, it's less injury risk, more power. So now you could run actually at faster paces. You could work harder at zone 2 without feeling so exhausted, and obviously then you'll be able to burn more. So aim for at least 2 strength sessions per week, right? You can do things like squats, deadlifts. You also do upper body, but since running is more of a lower body sport, I still put an emphasis on lower body, but yes, you could train core and upper body as well. Compound lifts, rows, push-ups, pull-ups, but then for lower body, squats, deadlifts, lunges, calf raises. The long-term goal, do like a strength standard. I pick the squat, but you can also do this on a leg press machine. For men, it's anywhere from 1.5 to 2 times body weight, and for women, it's 1 to 1.5 times body weight squat. That means for 1 rep max, right? You take that barbell, 1 rep max as heavy as you can. Can you squat, 1.5 to 2 times your body weight if you're a man? And the other figure I said for women, the 1 to 1.5 times. And as you get stronger, you'll be able to run faster and burn more during your workouts, right? So for example, jogging at a 13:30 pace only burns about 225 calories in 30 minutes, while running at an 8-minute pace is going to burn 375 calories in 30 minutes, right? You could see already there's a disparity that the faster runner is going to burn more calories in the same amount of time. So getting stronger equals higher output, more fat burned, right? You could sustain that zone 2 at higher outputs, more intensity. And then this is also going to compound your results with fat loss. So you stay leaner, get leaner. And then obviously as you get fitter and leaner, it'll be easier to maintain. So you're not having to worry about regaining, the weight back a year later with these really sustainable habits, right? So when I was working on my own fat loss, I didn't go low carb or follow like ketogenic diets. I just kept it simple. Added a 30-minute walk or run walk on my lunch break, ate a bit less fat, like cut about 3 thumbfuls of fat, kept the carbs high for running, bumped up the protein slightly, and the result, fat dropped pretty easily, energy stayed high, and I got lean without losing strength, right? So it doesn't have to be overly complicated. And if you want to lose weight, get strong, and run pain-free without starving yourself or overtraining, check out my free training, for running pain-free, a link in the description. And comment below what's been your biggest challenge with weight loss and running. I'll respond personally.